One of my first books I ever had was a book of nursery rhymes. I used to love it. And my favourite nursery rhyme of all, Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Poor old Humpty. Felt a bit sorry for him. But you know the real story? The story is that Humpty Dumpty was told never to get on that wall. His mum and daddy told him, nope, eggs don't climb up on walls. It's too dangerous. But Humpty didn't think that was a good idea. He thought, if I was up on top of that wall, just think of all the things I would be able to see. And how cool it would be to tell all my friends I sat on the wall. And every time Humpty thought about that wall, he wanted to sit on it. One day he was passing it by, and the temptation was so great, he thought, those rules from Mummy and Daddy, they just take away all my fun. They don't know what it is to be a young egg like me, and I can climb up a wall if I want to climb up it. Sure, they'll never know. And so Humpty disobeyed the rules of his mum and dad. And he climbed up on the wall. And wow, he thought, this is tremendous. This is great. Look, I can see so far. And look, I hope some of my friends can see me because they'll think I am so wonderful sitting up on the wall. And he started rolling back and forward with a big smile on his face, and then bang, clunk. It happened. He slipped. He fell. And he cracked from one side to the other. He was broken. Oh dear. Oh dear, he thought. Who comes along but the king's men and the king's horses? Now, horses are never very good at putting anything together again anyway, but they tried, but the horses couldn't put them together again. And neither could the king's men, the soldiers. A bunch of soldiers couldn't put them back together again. Poor old Humpty. He lay there. He was so sorry for himself, and he thought, if only I had obeyed what Mummy and Daddy had told me. Their rules, their laws, they were actually quite good. Maybe they weren't bad after all. They were protecting me. They were looking after me. If only I had listened to them. And now look at me. I'm broken. I'm never going to be fixed. Nobody can fix me. Now, I know the end of the story. Because it ends up as though nobody could ever fix Humpty. But you see, the king's horses and the king's men couldn't fix him. But the king could. The king came along. And the king put him back together again. And that day, Humpty knew that the king was such a special person. And he also knew that he didn't ever want to break any of the laws again because he knew those rules were for his good. Now that's only a nursery rhyme. But you know something? Very often we disobey the rules, don't we? Something inside us wants us to break the rules, do our own thing. Like Humpty. We want to be cool. We want to see things maybe from a different place, and we want to climb a wall, and what happens is that when we disobey the rules, we fall. We get cracked up. We can be hurt inside. And you know something? When we get hurt like that, when we got those cracks, that shame, and all the bad things inside of us we want taken away, you know, who can fix us? 2 weeks ago, Susan told us about Palm Sunday. She told us about how Jesus came into Jerusalem. He came as a king. He rode on the donkey and all the palm leaves. See, Jesus is the king. And you know, when we fall and when we get cracked up and when we do things that are wrong and we wish we hadn't done that. You know what? Jesus, the King, can fix us. He can forgive us. He can take all those things away from us. Or we just have to ask him and he will come. He will take all the bad things away. So this week, let us remember how good it is to have a good king. But also to remember that God's rules, the things he tells us to do, are good things. Like don't lie, don't steal, don't want things that don't belong to us. All those rules are there. Not to hate people, but to love people and to be kind to them. All those rules are good rules. And help us to do those things, because when we disobey, we can become like Humpty Dumpty. We can get a little cracked up. Lord God, thank you for Jesus. Thank you that he's our King. Thank you that he came into our world to fix us, to take away all the broken things inside us, and to allow us to become whole and to become good again. Thank you for forgiving us, Jesus. In your name, amen.